Hi, everyone. Good afternoon, good morning, from wherever you're calling in from. My name is Cindy Sago, and I am the program coordinator for the National American Indian Alaska Native Prevention Technology Transfer Center. Our center is sponsored by SAMHSA, the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, and we are located at the University of Iowa in Iowa City. So we are also part of the PTTC network, which is a group of 10 regional centers and also 3 national centers, which is the National Coordinating Office in Kansas City, the National Hispanic and Latino PTTC, and also our center, the National American Indian and Alaska Native Prevention Technology Transfer Center. These are the members of our team that help us in the work that we do here. Today we will be hearing from Waylon, part 2 of the session we had last month, and Waylon will be doing a proper introduction for himself. After this training, we will be sharing our GIPRA evaluation forms. Please fill them out and let us know what you liked about this training, this webinar, and how we can do better. We look forward to hearing Waylon share his knowledge and his experiences. And please let us know what you think in the chat. You can ask questions. Please use the chat box below. Thank you. I'll hand over to.
Good morning, everyone. Hope you guys are all doing well. Right now it's afternoon for you guys. For us right now, it is 11 o'clock. So super excited to jump on this call this webinar and continue part 2 of my part 1 series. So I'm actually getting yoga certified. And so I was trying to figure out how could I give them a recap of everything that I talked about in the first session. So I forgot that I actually put together a little video with this. We did this Pecha Kucha, and it was basically giving a timeline of why we want to be a yoga instructor. So I think this is perfect because it basically sums up everything that I talked about in part 1. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with the video. And this is just a basic summary of everything that I talked about from part 1.
Greetings, my name is Waylon Pahona. I grew up 18 years of my life on the Hopi Reservation. I am also Maricopa Pipash from Gila River. I grew up with my older brother, my little sister, my father, and my mother. If you don't know, Hopi is one of the oldest inhabited villages in the entire US. Growing up in Hopi, I was this little naughty res kid. I was always in the principal's office. I was always suspended from school. And part of that reason, I believe, was due to my sexual abuse, seeing my father accidentally kill a child, and also having to revive my mother when she tried to take her own life. I lived a pretty crazy life on the res. Dealing with the trauma, the sexual abuse and everything, one thing that really kept me busy was sports. Football, baseball, and wrestling were my passion. Growing up on the reservation, and I felt it kept me going. It kept me from being, depressed with all the issues that I was going on in my life during that time. After high school, I was supposed to go to college with a scholarship for football and baseball, and but I became a young father, and being a young father, it kind of helped me with the issue that I was going through growing up, because I never shared my sexual abuse. I never shared the trauma that I experienced on the reservation. After high school, being a young father and a young man, I let my weight spiral out of control. I wasn't taking care of my health. I was drinking, I was partying, I was fighting. I was doing a lot of bad things for myself that weren't okay. I was self-destructing as a young adult, and I needed help. In 2007, my life took a turn to the worst. I was spiraling out of control because of the sexual abuse. Everything I was hiding, everything that had happened to me, and I never shared it. And in 2007, I attempted to take my life, and so it was a huge change in my life. ended up in the hospital, and I was referred to behavioral health, where I finally got some help from a psychiatrist. I was diagnosed with post traumatic stress. From there, finally sharing what I experienced throughout my life, I started to take control, and I became a personal trainer. I started helping people, and I started sharing my life with others. Fast forward years later, I become a motivational speaker. I was awarded the Healthy Innovation Award through Indian Health Services. I ended up speaking to people across the US and Canada. Shockingly, didn't think this was going to be my life, and started motivating people with my story and what I've been through in my life. With everything that has happened to me, I created a group called Healthy Active Natives, which has over 70,000 people, Indigenous people, and just sharing and expressing ourselves. I've done several radio shows, talk shows, um, and expressed my health and wellness through my trauma. I've challenged myself in so many different ways, just, growing up, living life, going through those experiences. And I feel that yoga is a new experience for me to teach other Native men. Usually I just see women who do it, but I think now that I can be a voice for Native men to help them through yoga. And this is why I'm taking the course.
So that was actually my submittal to Native Strength Revolution, NSR. I'm actually 2 months in my yoga training. I will be officially a yoga instructor by the end of March. So I'm super excited about that. Like I said in the video, I pitched this video. I was trying to get a scholarship, and I actually was awarded this scholarship. So that's how I ended up in the sessions. And so today, I really want you guys to understand. I didn't really express this in the first part one, but I want you guys to also look at this not just as providers or those who are also helping others. I really want you guys to understand too that I'm doing this for you guys as far as what you're going through mentally. We all think we're doing well. Some of us, are still struggling with some of our issues. So I really try to make this transparent for you as well, that are struggling, because every part of my story, there's nothing unique about it. Sad to say that we all have something in common with my sexual abuse, seeing my father accidentally kill a child, my mother, her trying to take her own life and me having to revive her, all of these traumas. I know some of you guys have experienced that through your life, and you're still struggling through those. So I'm going back to...
Greetings. My name is Waylon Pahona. I grew up...
So I ended on my self-destruction. I was going to school. I was this high school athlete. I was physically active. I was doing all of these things to keep my mind and to not think about what had happened to me growing up. Fast forward to my adult years, I go to school. I take this internship with the Heel River Healthcare, and I start helping other people. I start creating cadet programs, explorer programs for youth, camps. I'm doing all of these things as a young adult man. But what's missing is I replaced the physical activity of blocking out my emotions by people, doing things and constantly helping, constantly busy, that I wasn't doing well myself. In 2007, I officially just completely could not take it anymore. I started rolling out of control. I hurt my back. I wasn't doing well physically, emotionally. I was drinking. I was partying. I was doing a lot of bad things. And a lot of people who see me on social media only see the positivity that I post. I don't ever talk negative. I try to highlight and empower people, And so when I share these things with people, it's hard for them to believe that this was my life, I've often had people come up to me and say, "Man, I wish I had a life like yours. It seems like you travel, you get to do all these speaking engagements, you get to meet amazing people." But at the same time, nobody really understands the things that I've been through. I've had 3 eye surgeries because I've been hit right in the eye socket. I have scars on my hand where I've been stabbed in the hand. I have scars on my arm where I've been. I've got in a lot of fights. I have scars over on my head, right, busted open over my head. All the things that I was doing at the same time. I hope you guys can hear me because I just got a notification that my connection's unstable. Um,
We can hear you, but it's breaking a little bit, but we can hear you now.
okay. So going through those feelings, I was changing. I needed help, and so in 2007, like I said, I was just at this point. I remember. I'm not going to go into brief detail of what happened, but um, I remember one night I was just like, I don't want to be on this earth anymore. I don't want to be here. I don't want to go through all of these things, that I've been through in my life. So the only thing that I remember, and I'll never forget, I know some of you guys are parents on this call, probably a majority of you guys are parents, and I want to take you back, and I want you guys to understand that there's this sound your baby makes when they're sucking on a bottle, and then once they're done with the bottle, all you hear is just the flow of air, and then they're still sucking. I remember that was the last thing that I heard. Um, and then I realized that I didn't want to die. And it was my youngest son, Caillou. He was just a baby at the time. And I frantically freaked out, but by then it was too late to where I woke up in the hospital. Um, I remember my girlfriend there, my high school sweetheart at the time, telling me that I needed help. You need some help. You need to see a psychologist. She was the only one who knew everything about my life. She was in that knew that I was sexually abused, that knew my darkest and deepest secrets. And she told me, if you don't get help, I need to, for the safety of our boys. And I knew I needed help, and I agreed. I said, I'll get some help. And so I remember the time, I remember clearly from PIMC, Phoenix Indian Medical Center. It was a referral to them. I remember driving my car out to behavioral health early in the morning. I did that because I didn't want to see anybody. People know me as P. And so I was thinking, man, what if somebody see me? What would they think? Why is P in behavioral health? Why is he over there? What's wrong with him? I was thinking of all of these things that could possibly happen if anybody see me. And so I drive up and I just watch people constantly getting in line, and I'm like, crap, I don't want to get in that line. So I get out of my car. I walk to that line, the behavioral health line behind Phoenix Indian Medical Center, and I completely walk around the whole hospital. And if you know PIMC, it's pretty big hospital. So I walk all the way around the hospital, and I'm just like, I can't do it. I can't get in. I cannot get myself to do this. And so I get back in my car. I jump in my car, and I just start crying. I'm just like, I need to save my family. I need to do this for my family because I don't want to lose my boys. And so 3 or 4 hours pass, and I finally get out of my vehicle and I make my way through those behavioral health doors. And I tell you this in confidence, and just, I hands down, it was the best decision I've ever made in my entire life. I was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress, and I didn't know someone like myself could be diagnosed with post-traumatic stress. I thought only veterans, people who went to war. I didn't know that all the things, sometimes when I hear kids scream, I think of that child who my father ran over. Often people ground beef, would make me think of that child's brains. And all those years, I was never able to handle it. So I start going to be explain.
Hi, Waylon. I think we're losing you there. I think we lost you for the last 10 or 15 seconds.
Hello. I hope you guys can hear me.
I think I can hear you now.
Is it clear?
It's a little
Okay,
clear.
my apologies.
Just breaking a little.
Okay. Give me a second really quick. I'm gonna see if I can turn off everybody's Wi-Fi. My apologies. Okay. So I start going to behavioral health. I started getting help. I start running, and I realized that running became something that I really enjoyed. I was going to physical therapy because I threw my back out. I was lifting these little tiny weights, trying to exercise, and I was just like, man, how did I get myself to this point in my life? And so I start realizing that I want to do a marathon. And so what I do is I sign up for the PF Chang's. During this time, I was going through physical therapy, and I let my physical therapist know that I wanted to run a half marathon. At the time, and this was on the reservation, I'm thankful for this man, but the physical therapist told me, he said, you can't do that. You're way too heavy. That's stress on your joints, your knees, your bones. He goes, it's not a realistic goal. And that pissed me off, that from there, because I was always an athlete. I was always doing something, but football, baseball, wrestling, those three sports, the coach isn't going to tell you to go run 10 miles. He usually tells you to run a few laps, and then you get into the skill of play, or you get into practicing drills. And so I did not like running. And so I started to do this. And so here I am, 2007. I call this my birth to wellness. I started walking and running at Westwood High School in Mesa, Arizona. I would go on their track. I would walk. I would run. I would jog. And I'm trying to express this in the most possible way that you can understand how I felt, because I was heavy. I had like the man boob going. I had all this extra weight. I was like, oh man, I hate feeling this way. I would do lap after lap, and I would put a rock down because I would forget, because those of you know, 4 laps is 1 mile around the track. So sometimes I would forget how many laps I was doing. And so then I started the system where I go the inner track, the outer, and work my way all the way around the outer track. Then I put a stick, and then I put a 1, and then I go 2. I actually did my first half marathon on Westwood High School track. And I just would run. And I tell people this, that running for me was the greatest metaphor for my life, because I was running from my problems. I was running because I couldn't handle situations. I was just running because I needed to run. Well, it's kind of the same way with running. You're constantly going, can I make it to the next mile? Can I make it to the next mile? And then you make it. No, I can't make it to the next mile. And then you make it, and then you continue. So it made me feel so happy when I started running. I became an ultra marathon runner, running 50Ks, 100Ks. Sometimes I would run 7-8 hours out of the day, and I loved it. That's a picture of me at 165 pounds, and became a personal trainer. I felt, and I say I felt because at this time I was still young in my years. I thought I found this, and the secret isn't just lift exercise. It's not just physical. There has to be a balance of the mental, um, because of everything that I was going. Training women to run marathons. I actually great. My apologies. I seen my connection again. I don't know what's up with my internet. This is the first time this has actually happened, but I started running marathons, and I started helping other women, get healthy. And so we would go to different places, and I believe I said this the last time. Women, you're gonna love what I have to say. Hands down, women are the most powerful people on the earth, and why I say that is because you bear children. You can put your mind in places where we can't. When you have children, it's amazing, and it's just this powerful woman. And I started using that to help promote women, to help support them, to show their resilience. Unfortunately, on our reservations, we do have a lot of women who are being beaten, who are sexually abused, who have gone missing, all of these things. And I use that to empower them, to be this trainer. I actually became pretty successful as a personal trainer, and I branched out and created Healthy Active Natives. With Healthy Active Natives, I was preaching, I was talking about my philosophies in wellness, that it's not just physical. There has to be this mind shift. There has to be this change in your mindset to make these things happen. And people were like, wow, this is amazing. Let's invite him to speak here. Let's bring him to Canada. Let's bring him all over the place. I remember a time where I did 3 different conferences in a span of a week. I was in California, I was in Oklahoma, and then my last event was in New Mexico. In a span of 5 days, I was in 3 different places, speaking and talking about health and wellness. I myself really felt that I had this gift to support and bring people together. I felt that with all the sexual abuse, with everything that I've been through in my life, I understand now. I understand everything that is going on, and I can help people. Traveling was amazing. I got to go to different places. I ran with kids in Canada for suicide awareness. I've spoken talking circles in Edmonton. I've went to Vancouver. I've sailed the ship across to help Indigenous people. The picture on the top, the 2 pictures on the top right, we ran for a young man who had taken his life. And I would do things like that to support youth. And the crazy thing is, some of these youth were finding out about me. They were asking me, not adults, but youth were finding me on social media, and they were hiring me to come. So I was just going to these kids, not asking for money, not asking for anything, but just going out. In the picture on the left, I was awarded the Healthy Innovation Award through IHS. And that picture on the left was the first time I had ever given a keynote speech. I remember when I gave that keynote speech, I had this paper written out of everything that I was going to say. These are my talking points. This is how I'm going to deliver this keynote. And when I got to the podium, all I seen were letters. I could not read it, and I started to panic. But what I did was I folded up that keynote speech and I put it in my pocket, and I just spoke freely. I talked about my life. I talked about the things that I've been through, and the changes that I've made to be this health and wellness person. And from that point on, it was powerful. You know, I remember Dorothy Dupree at the time was the director of IHS, and she couldn't have said it best. And this is she wasn't trying to disrespect any program or anything, but how she put it was, she said, how is it that this one guy who has no money, he hasn't had he has no grant funding, he has nothing, can impact Indigenous people across the US and Canada? And she goes, people get funding for these things, but how is it? She was asking the question to everybody. And she says, well, I'm going to answer this. And it's passion. You have to be passionate about your work. You have to want to make change for people. And Waylon is doing that. For her to say those words, man, it was humbling, and it just made me want to help people even more. The picture down in the corner, I don't know if you guys can see who that is, but that's Evan Adams from what is that movie called? Smoke Signals. Thomas, that's Thomas, and I got to meet with him. I got to present with him quite a few times, actually. So going through my life, I felt like, wow, you know, I'm like the native Richard Simmons. I'm like promoting, I'm getting people active. Actually, Richard Simmons isn't a great analogy. But I really felt I was at the top of my game. I really felt that I was doing everything I could, and that nothing was going to stop me. Nothing was going to bring me down, because I've been through the sexual abuse. I've been through seeing my father accidentally kill a child. I've been through having to revive my mother. I've been through surviving an attempt of taking my own life. You know, here I am, just living life and enjoying it, which I thought. April 1st, 2015. This picture is a very powerful picture. I actually still have this picture, and I pulled this off my social media, thinking I was at the top of my game. I took this picture with who is now my ex-wife. This is the last picture that we've ever taken together. And the crazy thing, I was off to do an event in Minnesota the day before we took this picture, and I left for Minnesota and realized that something just didn't feel right. I didn't feel okay. I felt these butterflies, and I felt this ugly feeling in my gut, and I didn't know what it was. But while I'm here at this event, I get a call from her, and it was a tough decision, but she let me know that she didn't want to be with me anymore. And I was crushed. I was completely hurt. I was completely just devastated from that, because I was with this person for 18 years of my life. And here I am thinking I'm at the top of my game, and feeling that everything that I've been through in my life has made this powerful, resilient man. And then this happens. You know, I'm at a loss of words. I don't know how this in this time when I did this event, it's still a blur, but I finished the event and I made it back home. In these pictures here, I look super healthy. I look like I'm the most in tip-top shape. But as you can see, my face, I wasn't eating after we had split. I was running 10 miles a night. I was running 15 miles a night. I was eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. It's crazy, because people were asking me, man, what's your secret to being healthy? You know, and I had abs. I was solid, you know, but nobody knew that I was going through an emotional state of mind that I couldn't get out of. Sometimes I would dream that I was dying. um, I was having all of these things go on in my body. I started to lose some of my hair, and people really thought I was super healthy, but really mentally I wasn't. I was going through a heartbreak. I missed being with my boys. I canceled a lot of events that I was supposed to speak at, and so I did my best to move forward and not think about those things, and it was a struggle. It was tough. So what I did was I decided to go back to behavioral health and get help because, and I try to explain this to people. It's kind of like sometimes we take getting help and behavioral health like medication. Okay, I'm okay, I'm okay. I got my meds. I'm good now. I don't need it anymore. But in all honesty, it's something that if you've dealt with trauma, it's something that you need the rest of your life. I now am a firm believer in that. I seek out behavioral health. If when I feel like I'm not okay, I'll reach out extra because I meet with them every 3 months. I call in and I get services. And so when I thought I was doing okay the first time, I thought, oh, I don't need all of that. I'm a powerful man. I've been through all this trauma when realistically there was still life happening, and I still needed to understand that. So it was tough. It was really rough for me. Um, while I was speaking, I finally started to feel okay when I was going to behavioral health. I was trying to get all the answers. I was reading about heartbreak. I was reading about relationships. I was like, how can I get past all of this? And thankfully, Gila River Healthcare, behavioral health, really helped me get back on track. And so I started to travel again. But fast forward almost a year later, I was invited, and mind you, yeah, 18 years of my life, of course, I'm still struggling. I'm still going through these emotions of trying to bounce back and help people. But I was invited to this conference called Reclaiming Our Knowledge. I was a keynote speaker at this conference, and it was in Edmonton, Samson Cree Nation. And when I first got wind of this, I was like, yeah, definitely. I want to go back up to Canada. And then when I found out what the lineup was going to look like, Waylon Pahona keynote speaker, and then you got other people, and then you see all these people with degrees, PhDs, and it kind of scared me. I'm like, man, I'm just a personal trainer. I'm not. I don't have a PhD. I don't have all of this. I worked in physical therapy. That's as far as I went in helping people. But it kind of made me feel a little uncomfortable because I felt that I wasn't smart enough to be on the stage with these people. So I get there, I get to the Samson Cree Nation, and I'm going to tell you how this changed my life. So I'm sitting in one of the workshops, and there's a guy there who just this amazing indigenous older man, had all these degrees, PhD. He's like, I went to school, I've done all of this, but he goes, what I rely on is my trade. By trade on the reserve, I rely on my trade, which I was an electrician. So he said, I fall back on that all the time. And so he had this witch. So if you don't know what a witch is, a witch checks current. So electricians and plumbers use them to find currents underground for water or electricity. And he used it on people. So I'm sitting in on his workshop. And while he's telling us, he's like, I want any one of you guys to come up to me, and I want to see if you can move my witch. He goes, I want to see if you have energy to do it. So people started getting up and they started walking towards the witch, and he puts it on them and it didn't move. And I'm like, man, I want to see if I can move it. But, I'm not in a community of there. I'm a guest. I didn't want to just get up. So I sat there, and this old grandpa gets up, slowly moving, and he puts the witch on him and it moves just like that. I mean, it just spreads out. And I'm like, wow. In my mind, I was thinking of it in the wrong way. I'm like, he's old. How is that witch moving? Where's the energy coming from? This was what I was thinking in my mind. He brings the man up to the stage and he starts tapping him. He goes, this young man, this is the presenter speaking about the elderly man. He's like, this young man has lived a beautiful life. He's like, tell me, young man, what do you do on a daily basis? And the old grandpa is like, well, I get up early. Me and my wife, we have breakfast. We watch our grandchildren. We take them out. We do. He was naming all these things, and it just sounded like just this man who lived a beautiful life, really. And he goes, that's it. He's like, every one of you guys in this room is dealing with something. Whether it's bills, whether it's past trauma, whether it's things, what you're doing is you're sucking all that energy, that positive energy out of yourself, and you're living in this negative space. That's why you don't have energy. I'm sitting there and I'm like, wow, this is powerful, So he finished his workshop. The next day, I do my keynote speech and I'm talking. After I'm done, he walks up to me and he says, that was an amazing keynote speech, young man. And he asked me how old I was. And I told him, and he said, wow. He said, yesterday I seen you in my class and I know you wanted to get up. And I laughed and I said, I did. And I said, that right there was a beautiful, it was amazing for me to hear your words. He goes, yeah, I know you wanted to get up. And so he had his witch in this nice, really buckskin fringe bag. He really made it his own. It was just this indigenous, powerful, looked like a huge medicine pouch. And he pulls it out and he put it on me and it went just like that. And he's like, it makes sense. I moved his witch and he started telling me to talk about things that I was going through. And at this time, this is when I had the breakup. This is where I was really just trying to get through my life and be better. I was trying to get over my ex and cope. And so he says, tell me. And I told him everything. And he put the witch on me. There was no energy. He said, something that makes you so happy in life. What are you the most proudest about? And I started to break down because I told him, he was making me visually tell him about my kids. And because it's like my boys, I love my boys. And then he put it on me again and it moved. And he says, young man, for you at such a young age, he said, people haven't been able to manipulate their own energy the way you have. He's like, unfortunately, there's a lot of elders that are trying to reach this point in our lives. He goes, you're doing a good job at managing your emotions, the positivity, the energy. He goes, continue to do this and you'll go far in your life. This is the game changer right here because he says, I'm going to share with you something. I'm going to make you even more stronger. He said, you can take it for what it is, or you can feel disrespected by it. He goes, I'm not trying to disrespect you. But he said, some people take my words and this knowledge that I give them in a disrespectful way. So I said, yeah, of course, anybody wants to know, the power of being stronger. So he says, there's no such thing as forgiveness. And I'm like, what? Like, there's no such thing as forgiveness. We have to forgive, that's just how I felt, And he goes, forgiveness was taught by the white man. Forgiveness was taught by the white man's Bible. As indigenous people, we don't forgive. We continue to push forward. We continue to live our lives. We don't look at it like that. We never have. He goes, and people will get upset by my words. He goes, I'm not putting down the church. I'm not putting down the Bible. All I'm saying is to live your life. So he says, live your life. Forget about all of those things that you're going through with your ex. He said, you're going to bring in your traditional beliefs. You're going to bring that in here. And then you're going to bring the other component, the secret to bringing a whole powerful person. He goes, that secret is science and evolution and biology. If you can bring your traditional beliefs and those things together, you're going to be a very powerful person. He said, because for 18 years of your life, you created these chemicals to hear, smell, taste, touch, feel this person. 18 years, he said, and it's taken away from you just like that. He goes, there goes the heartache, here goes the crying, here goes all the things that you're going through in your life. He said, you're missing it. It's like you're a drug addict wanting those chemicals again because you've had it every single day for 18 years of your life, waking up wanting these chemicals. And it was just this powerful man, and he poked me in the chest and he said, you need to make new chemicals. I was so blown away by the words that he gave me that I started to look at life differently. I started to use positive affirmations again. I started to see and know that the mother of my children was a beautiful woman, that from all the trauma and everything that I put her through was it wasn't my fault. It was me trying to balance and understand the things that I've been through in my life, and I owned it. And there was no need for me to forgive. There was a need for me to continue to push forward. There was a need for me to help support her and understand her in ways that I didn't understand, because she was trying to help me. She was trying to help me through the things that I was going through in my life. And at the time I was like, man, this woman just doesn't want to be with me, and it made me feel bad. That wasn't the case at all. And so I came back feeling rejuvenated. I felt that I had a new look on what I needed to change in my life and help support myself. I went back to behavioral health. I took counseling again. I walked, I moved, I listened to music, I wrote down my thoughts. I did all of these things to help support myself. Moving forward, I realized that I needed this to happen. It might sound crazy, but everything that has happened in my life has happened for a reason. I wouldn't change a single thing in my life. I wouldn't change one thing to make my life any different. Besides that young child losing his life from my father, that's the only thing that I would change. But everything else that has happened to me, I honestly would not be sitting here today with you guys. I wouldn't be sharing and expressing myself and what I've been through if that didn't happen. I've realized that everything in life has taught me lessons, and that lessons that I could possibly help others, who are struggling and dealing with these things. I took it in that way. I continue to push forward. I continue to share more philosophically rather than exercise and running and everything else. I tried to become more philosophical about things and really thinking things through analytically to help people understand how they could make those changes. And so in the bottom picture, I was actually at the World Indigenous Games. I was a keynote speaker at the World Indigenous Games. In the picture above, this was a group of Maoris out there at World Indigenous Games. And then in the picture on the left, I was asked to speak in Minnesota again. For a while, I was traumatized by Minnesota. I didn't like going to Minnesota. It had nothing to do with Minnesota. It was because that was the last trip that I went when my relationship ended. And so I have a whole new outlook on life. I've made a lot of changes to who I am as a person. And I wanted to share this with you. The brain is a record of the past. If you can't think greater than you feel, you will continue to live in your past. Those are very powerful words, because those are things that we continue to live in. We, like I said, we take that energy from ourselves, and we continue to wake up thinking about things that have happened to us. Now I continue to look at my life in a positive way. I try to manifest new things that are coming in my life. I was the Fort Mojave Wellness Director for 2.5 years. And we created some of the most amazing programs there. We're one of the first health and wellness centers to create PE for kids, create programs and help others. and I dedicate that to everything that I've been through to help our Indigenous people. I put a piece of every trauma that I've been through to help. How can I make those changes for our community? And I recently left, and I wanted to share with you my life today, and the changes that I've made. And so I wanted to share this video of 2020. This is a basic summary of where I'm at now in my life and what has changed.
I get up, I get down, and I'm jumping around. And the rumpus and rug is so comfortable now. Been a hell of a ride, but I'm thinking it's time to grow. So I got an apartment across from the park. Don't know what they'll find, but I know that I can make it. As long as somebody takes me home every now and then. Oh, have you ever seen the light? Why you always in the mood? Fuck around like I'm brand new. I ain't tryna tell you what to do, but try to play. I don't wanna lose it. I'm not getting through this. Hey, should I pray? Should I pray? Yeah. To myself, to a God, to a Savior. But don't you know that the devil is a liar? I know that rivers send me down, put my soul in the fire. But we keep going higher, higher. Like the Titanic. Eyes blue like the Atlantic, and I'm going down like the Titanic. Eyes blue like the Atlantic, and I'm going down like the Titanic. Like the Atlantic. Don't give up on the dreams of the past. You must fight to them alive. It's the eye of the tigers, the thrill of the fight, rising up to the challenge of our rivals. The last snow. Once I love and it was a gas. Soon turned out I had a heart of glass. Seemed like a real boy, you're a little guy. But for this earth, the scar behind. Go to bed. I'll make a cup of coffee for your head. Okay? Yeah, I don't wanna fall asleep. I don't wanna pass away. I've been thinking of our future, cause I'll never see those days. I don't know why this is happening. Morning.
Yes. And that is my presentation. I'm still continuing to live my life. 2020 was a rough year for all of us. I decided to walk 200 miles for clean water for my Hopi people. And yeah, I'm right now I'm just living and helping and supporting people like yourself, whatever I can to talk and give hope to others. You know, I use my life in that way. So thank you in my language, Kwe, for listening to me. I'm open for questions if you guys have any questions.
Wow, thank you so much, Waylon. That was powerful. Thank you for being so transparent. Thank you for sharing your journey. I have to say at a point, I also got a little emotional, but that was powerful. Thank you for reminding us about our resilience. Thank you for reminding us that all this was given to us to help our communities, the people around us. So thank you. I do not have the right words, so I'm just going to go to the chats to see if there are any questions. I see Roxanne asked, what was the secret the elder asked? She said he or she said audio wasn't working at that time and couldn't hear. So maybe if you could just briefly repeat that.
What was that? I'm sorry, the question?
The question was about the secrets the
Oh.
elder said.
So my apologies, dang it. And then the service went out right about then. So the secret was there's no such, and the elderly man who told me this, said, you can take it for what it is. A lot of people feel disrespected when he says this. And he says, so I don't know how you're going to take this, but he said, there's no such thing as forgiveness. And in my head, like I said, I was like, wow, we have to forgive. We have to. And he said, forgiveness was taught by the white man. Forgiveness was taught in the Bible. As indigenous people, we just push forward. We never thought in that way, live your life and continue to move forward. And so what he said, what you then do is you bring your traditional beliefs, your teachings, and you bring science, biology, and evolution together to make you to be wholehearted and powerful as a person. That's what he told me.
Thank you, Waylon. I hope everyone and Roxanne got that. I see there's a lot of positive comments. Thank you for sharing, Waylon. Healthy, active natives is wonderful. You're awesome. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for being totally transparent. Birdie said, my running team for the Food to Coast Relay is Team Hands. That is healthy, active natives doing something. So that is great. Thank you for sharing your story, turning tragedy into a powerfully positive, motivating experience. And that, I think that really sums up how I felt while listening to this. You have been very inspirational to all of us, reminding us that in our resilience, that is where we get our strength and our passion to work with people and the communities we work with. And so thank you for sharing, Waylon. Serena is asking if you are available for speaking engagements. She can see their local community being really inspired to hear from someone like you. So, Waylon.
Definitely. Let me, what I'll do is I could put my email in the chat box and you can shoot me an email.
All right, so while Waylon is putting that in, I'll just, we will also be sharing out the GIPRA link in the follow-up email after this. And we would also include the links to the videos Waylon shared, if that's okay, Waylon.
Sure.
And also the PowerPoint, if that's okay with you, and also Waylon's email, so that you can reach out to him for more information about other speaking engagements and any other information you would need about, starting such a program in your communities. I don't know if there are any other questions. How many miles did you run in 2020?
So it took me quite a while to get up to getting to do the 200 miles, because November 24th on my birthday, I decided that I was going to start walking. So I did 26 miles a day for 9 days to reach that 200-mile marker. But October alone, I walked over 400 some miles. And it's interesting because I'm a real just kind of go kind of guy. It's hard for me to slow my brain down. walking is the ultimate way to slow yourself down, because you can't go any faster. You can't go, you just can't. And that's walking all those days made me realize I wanted to become a yoga instructor. So actually wanting to do that came from me walking every single day. And some days I would walk about 5-6 hours a day just to prepare my legs to make that journey, that 200-mile journey.
Thank you, Waylon. Let's see if there are any more questions. Someone said, can you please share your last quote before moving forward? Nancy asked that. I'm not sure which last quote. Was that the last quote on the slide?
Oh, yeah, let me,
let's see.
I don't know if you want to, I don't know if she wants to screen share this or, the brain is a record of the past. If you can't think greater than you feel, you will continue to live in your past.
Thank you, Waylon. And we would also share the slides, so you would also be able to get that.
Okay.
I think we are 1 minute to the top of the hour. Are there any questions? If not, we will share Waylon's email, the slides and the links, so you can reach out to him if you have any questions. It's like 1 hour is never enough, huh? This is part 2, and there's still, we still want more. So thank you so much, Waylon. I want to thank everyone for attending this session, for asking questions and interacting in the chat. Thank you, Waylon, again, for sharing your journey. Thank you for sharing your knowledge, your time with us. We really appreciate this. And we're hoping that, more people will be able to see this recording, even if they couldn't attend, and also be able to learn more and reach out to you for more information. So we really appreciate you. Thank you so much for your time. We will be ending the session now, and we would also send out a link to the recording after it's put up on our YouTube page.
One last thing, I just wanted to say thank you to Dara Jefferson for inviting me to do this. So she's the one that connected the dots and had me here. So thank you, Dara.
Yes, thank you, Dara. Dara is our PhD student that works with our center, and she is a member of the Northern Arapaho tribe. So say hi, Dara, before we close the session.
In the middle of working out and listening to P's story. And but yeah, thank you for sharing your story. I super appreciate it. Can't wait to meet with you in a couple of weeks. Looking forward to that. But yeah, it was really powerful. I got emotional probably about the same time everybody else did. Helped me push that last rep out.
Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, and talk to you soon, Waylon. Have a good day. Bye-bye.